All right, people. So we are going to start a series called Something. We have not picked a name just yet, but Henny and I are going to start talking about dogs a little bit more. He's going to share his experience, and I'm going to share my experience, so it's going to be easier for you guys to live with your dogs. We're going to tell you things that we've done with our dogs to have success. We're going to tell you about our failures as well, because that's the way you learn. You try something, it doesn't work, you got to figure out a different way. So, introduce yourself.
My name is Henrik. I'm the owner of TX German Shepherd. Doing German Shepherds now for 17 years. In dog training, 17, 18 years. Yeah, and I love doing what I'm doing. And try to make the German Shepherd what he's supposed to be.
Why do you like the German Shepherd so much?
When I was little, every time I got out of my house, we had this big field in front of our house. And I grew up in Germany. And there was that one shepherd. And he had, I don't know, so far as I remember, at least 100 sheep or 200 sheep. There were a lot. And as you can imagine him with a long coat, hat on, got a stick, his walking sticks and everything. He's got his two German Shepherds that were sitting left and right from him. And every morning when I walked to school, he was out there on that field with his sheep. And I saw those shepherds working.
Were they black and tan?
They were black and tan. And they were working, and it was fucking awesome.
But this is back when the black and tan shepherds were still something.
They were something. They were working, and one of those pictures just never left my head, and I can still see it, which is pretty cool. I still see it right in front of me how I got out, and he was just standing there with a stick, his two shepherds, and he had him on a whistle. You know, he just sent them on a whistle, and the dogs were working those sheep. What most people don't even know those days, they were actually herding dogs.
They were herding.
It says shepherd
in their name.
People don't even recognize.
So I've been around here for 3 years now, almost 4 years, and this is the first time I've ever heard this story.
You did?
Yep.
I thought I told
You've
you
never
already.
told me about the childhood. Oh, I was German Shepherd and I seen him and it was just the coolest thing. So the German Shepherd is very nostalgic for you.
Yes, it is. So, especially from Germany, we got a lot of shepherds over there. Like you got all the Schutzhund, where it comes from Germany, and you got those clubs everywhere. It's pretty much a national sport. So.
Did you ever talk to the guy?
Nah, dude, I was little. You know, I was more afraid of him. So,
it's like, oh, there's two dogs over
It
there.
was a big guy with a long coat. You know what I mean? You don't just go there.
That's a very interesting story. So, you grew up seeing this, and that made you want to get one.
Well, it's a picture that never left my head.
Yeah.
And then I believe because my granddad, he had German Shepherds. It's actually my other shirts, the logo that you have on there. This is actually made from the picture of my granddad's German Shepherd.
Huh.
The face of my logo is an original picture from my granddad's German Shepherd, and he actually trained it for protection. He did like some Schützen stuff as well, which later on came Schützen, but he didn't never do Schützen, but he had his jumps, he had his A-frames, he had him jump over walls and that kind of stuff. So I think it jumped a few generations until it got to me, and it just picked up right where hey, here I am, and give me all your genes. So.
That is actually pretty cool. See, and this is why we like talking about dogs, because you find out stuff about people. Dogs definitely bridge a gap. German, black, we got Mexicans out here, we got all kind of races that all come together just to work with their dogs. Dogs are something that bridge the gap. So, what do you suggest somebody to do if they're trying to raise a working dog? First year of a working dog's life.
So, I think one very important thing is get them young. It doesn't have to be 8 to 10 weeks. If you get them younger than 6, 7 months, it's all right too. Pups are still young as long as they were raised in the right environment. Which we come back to, like, if I don't sell a puppy with 8 weeks, I can tell you what I'm doing with those dogs, what I believe you should do. Don't worry too much about obedience. It's just a baby. It's a puppy. I always compare it if you have kids, right? Mm-hmm. Those kids that pee in their diapers for the first 2 or 3 years, and you're not even mad. You just change those diapers. We get those puppy home, and we expect the puppy to be clean by week 3 in the house. It's not going to happen.
By day one. Day one, the puppy
well, we heard that
over,
actually, right? First week, like 11 weeks old, the puppy's supposed to be potty trained.
Yeah.
But so, which comes back to building that puppy's confidence. Right? If you beat it up continuously for peeing in the house, you're just going to beat down that puppy. You're going to take the drive away, and you're not working on the relationship, which should be one of your most important things if you want to work with a dog. If your relationship with your dog ain't right, and your dog doesn't want to work for you, just does it because he has to, you can see it on the dog, and the dog doesn't really care. So, I want my dog to love doing what he's doing, and I want him to enjoy to be with me. So I think you're the same way with
yeah.
Boots. You post all those videos about building relationship, building trust, and those videos are great. And I think people have to see more of those. Like, too many people put too much pressure on a young dog.
Oh yeah, way too early. And it's like you said, I think a lot of dogs get ruined because people put too much pressure on them in the first 6-7 months of the dog's life.
Yeah.
They correct, they do. The dog's still trying to figure himself out. And if you never allow the dog to figure himself out, you're going to have a bad dog. You're going to have a dog who listens to everything you want, but they're not going to be confident enough to go and do other things. Rocco, he's my best dog. I didn't do shit with him until he was 2 years old. It's not because I didn't know what I should do, or it was actually because I didn't know what I was supposed to do with him. But we just hung out.
Right.
He would be in the car with me. We would go places. I would put him on mailboxes. Like, I just had fun with my dog. And then when we got into formal training, it was like, oh, okay, I can actually communicate to my dog on things that I want him to do.
That's awesome,
But
yeah.
first 2 years, nothing. We did no obedience. He really didn't get no corrections. We just hung out.
But without you noticing it, right, you were building a bond with your dog, and your dog enjoyed being around you instead of being afraid. So, yeah.
And that's still the best dog. I put Rocco up against anybody. Any dog out there, I'd put Rocco. Even at fucking 11 years old. He may not be the best, but you going to remember that dog.
But he's going to do it because he wants to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
which would make that dog even stronger.
Yes.
Stronger than
we're working
you,
together.
Yeah.
And, you know, I raised Oakley a little bit differently. I was real strict, rigid on her first 6-7 months of her life. And she was a dog where in an uncomfortable situation, before she would try and fail, she would do nothing. And, like, that was the most frustrating thing. It's just like, just try. But she's gotten corrected so much for trying and messing up that now she's like, nope, I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Afraid to do something, or even do something what she might thought she had to do, but she was afraid doing it.
Yep.
Because of corrections, yeah.
And it's you definitely could see the difference of it. I mean, Oakley's super athletic. She could do everything, but there would be some situations where it's like, nope, I don't know what you want, so I'm not going to do anything.
I met both of your dogs, yeah. I remember Oakley as well. She was a good dog, but yeah, you can see the difference from Oakley and Rocco. You can definitely see it.
So like,
which dog taught you more?
Oakley.
Oakley?
Yeah.
So it taught you pretty much what not to do?
Yeah. I mean, and that's it, because you don't know what you're supposed to do with the dog until you know what you're not supposed to do with the dog. And it was like, you think, okay, if I have the control, if I have this. And she was a good dog, but she wasn't Rocco. And it's like, the reason why Rocco was good on America's Top Dog in any of these situations is because he was just that dog. He knew if I'm asking him to do something, just try it, dude. And he would perform it, and then the next time he's like, hey, I can even do better. You like that?
Right.
I can even do even better. And that was just his thing. So like with Boot, you know, I let Boot kind of get away with murder. Like, he's just a dog. He can jump on me. He can do stuff. Like, yes, he does get corrections. I mean, he's at that 2-year, age now where it's like, okay, we got to start dialing in. But
yeah, I mean, eventually those corrections have to come.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you got an out of control dog, which I'm doing with Dex too, because he had like a lot of leanway in his first year of his life, maybe a little too much. So we love each other. We got a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
I love him. He hates me. But yeah, it's a lot of work to pick up. But you're gonna have a very confident dog. You have a dog that wants to work for you. It's not like he's taking off and does whatever. He's listening. He's minding me pretty well, and he's taking the corrections from me if I give him a correction. And most of the time, a no is enough for him to stop what he's doing, and he wants to work with me. I can see it. So when I take him out for training, he's like, okay, Dad, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And he's happy doing it. So now I'm at the stage that I can correct him for doing something wrong and can teach him right from wrong without the dog shutting down.
yes.
Because it's not personal anymore. The dog knows.
And that part right there, the dog knows why he's getting corrected at that point. Like, I got to do some more recall stuff with Ryan. I was calling her earlier. She was just like, nope, I'm not going to come to you. But I'm not going to correct her for that, because one, she doesn't really know she has no idea what the recall is.
You never told her, yeah.
Like, I'm showing her here and there, but it's like, she's only, 14 weeks?
Yeah.
15 weeks old? Like, she's still a baby. So I'm not getting on her for it. It's like, okay, cool. I have to do more to show her what I want her to do in those situations. And that's where the long lines come in. That's where the flexi leash comes in, where even if you are 10, 15, 20 feet away from me, if I call you, hey, come back to me, and I just have to have something for her.
So what you're saying is that you first have to teach a dog an exercise, a trick, whatever you want to call it, a recall. It's just a trick. It's an exercise, whatever you want to call it. So you first got to teach him in a controlled environment to make sure that he knows what he's supposed to do before you correct him.
Definitely.
So
that is exactly what I'm saying.
So you don't wait until you take him for a walk in the park and then correct him for not coming back, because that's the only time you do a recall with him.
Mm-hmm. But the dog doesn't even know what a recall is.
Right.
And once you show dogs, I've learned a dog will never resent a correction if they know why they're being corrected.
Right. If they know, it's the same with humans, right?
Yeah.
You teach your kids right from wrong, and if they do something wrong, you punish them. If they do something right, you reward them.
Mm-hmm.
And reward, even for a dog, can go as far as, good boy, if I don't have food, at least talk to him, tell him he did something right. Because I don't always carry treats with me. I try to, but I don't, because I use hot dogs, and they get pretty disgusting.
Mm-hmm. And if you leave them in your pocket, they really get disgusting.
So,
especially in the summertime in Texas.
But you can still tell your dog, if you have a good relationship with your dog appreciates being close to you. And if you pet your dog, you tell him good boy, and the dog goes, ooh, cool, I did something right. You get away with sometimes not giving a piece of food or a ball, and the dog still knows I did good.
Yeah.
So just...
And that's what I tell people, like, I want my dog to think 9 out of 10 times they're getting something from me.
Yeah.
And 9 out of 10 times we work with the dogs, I'm going to have something. Whether it's a Frisbee, food, something for them that they're going to physically get. But if I don't, I'll be like, hey, good job, pig. And let them know. It's all communication at the end of the day. And the more of a relationship that you have with the dog, the more of a bond, they're going to try more things.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be willing to get outside of their comfort zone. They're going to be willing to venture out because you're asking them to. And if you show them the dog, hey, if I tell you to jump, you can. And if you can't, I'm going to be there to support you.
Mm-hmm.
The other day, I had Boot on the wall. He was probably getting like 7 foot. And I put it up to 8, and he got it. And I was like, okay. I put it up to 9, and he got it. I was like, all right, boo. Like, hey, we put it up to 10. I think he was just a little too tired at that point. Yeah. But he's trying because he knows, hey, I like it when you do these things.
I've seen Boot all the time. He's trying and trying and trying over and over again. Yeah, he wants to be with you. You can see that. And he likes to work with you. He trusts you, and you never let him fail.
Yeah.
Even if he doesn't succeed, you don't let him fail. You catch him. He's not going to get hurt. Whatever. You're not going to get mad. Just got to keep going.
Yeah. Somebody asked me, they was like, hey, would you sell me Boot? I'm like, he wouldn't be the same dog for you that he is with me. The reason why Boot does what he does is because I like it. Mm. He's an Australian Shepherd. They're not supposed to bite and hold things, but I told him that's what I wanted him to do. And what does he do now? He bites and holds things. Mm. Like, he wouldn't be the same dog. I mean, Rocco, any of my dogs, they would be different dogs in somebody else's hands because they're working for me. Mm-hmm. They're working with me. They're not working just because they want to work. Right. And that's one reason why, like, I've never gotten, like, a Malinois, because Mal's doing it because they want to. They don't care about who's telling them to go bite this person. They don't give a shit. They just want to go do.
They're like, let's do it.
And it's been cool, like, to work with Rye because she's fucking completely different than any of my dogs. Like, my least favorite dog I've ever worked with, she reminds me so much of him.
Oh, yeah?
That pointer?
Oh, yeah, I remember that pointer. Yeah.
She reminds me so much of him. So it's like, okay, I got to make sure I have to make sure my patience is grade A with her because she's an ass.
But I think you need that sometimes.
Yeah.
You sometimes need that dog that tests your patience to keep you
humble.
Reminding yourself, hey, this is what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
Have patience. Yeah. Work with
it. But I think she's going to be a really fun dog because I think she can do anything. Like, I'm gonna take her down to the herding.
Oh yeah.
The herding guy. I think she could do it.
Interesting. Last time we went, didn't get too successful for both of us. I would say.
I mean, your dog actually did something.
Yeah, I would say you did too much.
But you can dial that back. I rather not than the Boot was afraid of the goat.
Well, I would have it on the leash that she wouldn't be here anymore. So.
Yeah, that is true. But you can always dial that back. Yeah. Like, again, I'd rather have one extreme than the other.
No, I got you.
And I think Rye's going to be able to do anything, because we're gonna have that bond and we're gonna have that relationship.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna be fun building her in bite work. Like, a couple people are like, are you gonna get her to do bite work? I'm like, yeah, well, I've never seen a Dalmatian do it. Bet. Hold my whiskey.
I'll drink it. I'll drink it.
And it's just going to be fun because it is a challenge. I mean, it's not a dog who's supposed to be doing it, but she has drive, she has motivation, she is going to be athletic, so it's like, why could she not?
Yeah.
It may take a little longer, but...
Which as well is going to build you up, though, because you work with a lot of different breeds. I used to train a few breeds, but I never owned different breeds and training those kind of things. So you at it, with every different breed you're getting, and you go into those phases, you will learn every time.
Mm-hmm.
Different dog teaches you different things. And so would you agree that you got to adjust your training, your philosophy sometimes of your dog training? You still got to adjust it and learn and build yourself for each dog, for each, that you can't use the same methods on every single dog?
Facts. I mean, even the same breed. So I've trained probably, what, 12 of the dogs that you've had?
Mm-hmm.
All of them different.
All of them.
They all learn completely different.
They're all at the same mama.
All had the same mama. They're German Shepherd, grade A genetics. All of them learn different.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, every dog that you face is going to give you something different to work on. And I think a lot of trainers only like working with specific dogs or specific attributes that the dog has. And if the dog doesn't show those things from the very first, they won't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, again, like you said in the very beginning, I think a lot of good dogs get washed early because they're just taking a little bit longer to develop.
I agree. Yeah, a lot of them wash those dogs out quick because they don't show at the first evaluation session what they're supposed to do, and they just get. I'm sometimes sad because they might be a good dog, and maybe the owner even they like that dog, but they get rid of it because some guy.
Yep, told them that they can't do it.
Yeah,
I mean,
just sad.
Even Lindsay and them came out last night. Spot, you saw Spot work. The first time we cracked the whip, he climbed in her lap.
Mm-hmm. I saw.
And I wish we would have had that on video, but that dog, now, I mean, he's older now, but when he was on.
Oh, he's on.
But if we would have said, hey, you know, this dog can't do it, you know, we can't actually build this dog, you need to get a different dog, like, again, Spot would not be Spot.
No, I totally agree. The same with the other shepherd you have here, the long-haired one.
Angus.
Yeah.
Beef man.
Yeah, same thing with him, man. I mean, I saw him, I think, not the very first session, but one of his first sessions. And I guarantee you this dog would have been 100% washed wherever you go at the beginning, because nobody would have put the work in and said you can't do it. And the progress that this dog has done in those few months now is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
He
And
still needs a lot of work.
Yeah.
But the progress this dog has done, a lot of people would have never gotten that dog to that stage already. And from hiding behind the owner, not even having a whip, just standing there, him hiding behind the owner, now going forward, actually hitting the end of the leash and actually barking and going forward. And you can see the confidence in the dog getting more and more and more. And yeah, it was not the most comfortable in the beginning, but the dogs learn how to deal with pressure. And sometimes those dogs actually turn out to be the stronger dogs. Like when I have puppies, I don't want that dog that is not afraid of anything. Because that one day you might hit something, the dog is not quite sure about it, and the dog has not learned as a puppy how to deal with something he doesn't know.
Yep.
He hasn't learned how to deal with pressure or uncertain situations, whatever it might be, if it's noises, moving parts, whatever it might be. If I have a puppy who is at the very beginning, 8-9 weeks, a little bit like, oh, I don't know what that is, but they slowly go forward and they discover and they figure out on their own, hey, that's not too bad, I did that.
Yep.
It builds their confidence, it makes them stronger. They learn how to deal with pressure, because if a dog is afraid of something, they're getting stressed.
Yeah, they
If
learn
you're
how to
stressed,
problem solve.
You have pressure. They try to find, and dogs have fight, flight, or freeze, same as humans, you know what I mean? Most of the time dogs have fight or flight. They don't really freeze too much. They run or they go forward. And you can see it in a lot of dogs really quick. They run. Right? And people say, I don't know why you did that. He never. So,
You've actually never built the dog's confidence to overcome things.
and that's what we talk about, the first year of his puppy's life. Don't worry about the he's gonna be potty trained. If you do it right, you put the time into your dog and teach him to potty outside, he will potty outside. They're going to start to control that.
Yeah,
fucking bladder.
it's routine.
Yeah,
At a certain point, like it's just routine.
It's frustrating. I get it.
Yeah.
I hate to clean up fucking piss, but it's not a big deal. Just wipe it off and you're done.
But I mean, 9 times out of 10, if the puppy's peeing in the crate, it's your fault.
It is.
Like you did something wrong.
Mhm.
I mean, and I think people don't want to take the accountability. Like I'm doing something wrong. That's why my dog is messed up.
Because it is work.
Yeah. And I always tell people, hey, if your dog's doing something right, that's your fault. If your dog's doing something wrong, it's still your fault. Because they're an animal. They don't know how to live in your life.
Nope.
If you've never shown them.
And you take them from the outside to the inside of the house, what they were never meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
Dogs like to be outside. I mean, yeah, they get used to. We get them used to live inside, but the dog is totally fine to live outside. They don't care if they're in the 10 by 10 and they're peeing there. They don't care walking around their own piss. Most dogs don't.
Yeah.
But,
But you get those dirty dogs, it's like, fine. No.
I mean, I've got dogs living in the house. I got dogs living outside in the kennels. I had dogs that were 24/7 outside, and they were all happy dogs. And we all had a great relationship. So, but yeah, whatever you choose the dog to be, you gotta work on it and not beat the dog to do a certain task when they're little. Build
So
the dog up.
we'll go back to Angus. It's like, yes, he's never going to be Dax.
No.
Like, there's nothing that we can do to build him up to be Dax because
Right.
he just doesn't have that. But he can still be a great dog.
Yep.
And that's, I think a lot of people miss. You can have a great dog, but he's not going to be somebody else's dog.
Mhm.
Like, no dog that I have is, I mean, Boots not going to be Dax. He's not going to hit as hard. Rye probably won't hit as hard because they just don't have it. But they're still going to be some damn good dogs because they're going to know exactly what they're supposed to be doing in any situation. And it's just, I want people to have realistic expectations whenever they get a dog. A lot of people get dogs and then they want them to be,
Something they were not meant to be. Yeah.
and it's like, as good as we are, like, I can't make your dog be something that it's not.
Mhm.
Like, if your dog doesn't have the ability to climb 10 feet on this wall, there's nothing that I can do to make him climb 10 feet on the wall.
Yeah, sometimes a dog, even after that, you have to admit, okay, this dog can't do it.
Yeah.
There's the time, there's the,
It's like Chief. As drivey as he is, he ain't climbing 10 feet on the wall. And you know, if we get on the top of the Tahoe, Chief ain't coming up there.
yeah, he's
But
like, I'm waiting until you come down there.
he's going to do what he needs to do, and he's going to be a great dog for what he is.
Yeah.
But you also have to understand, some dogs can't do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, every dog has its limits,
Mhm.
and it might be even a German Shepherd sometimes, it might be a Malinois sometimes. You can put a lot of time in, a lot of dogs, you're able to show them what to do, but they will never be to a certain level. But that's when we come back to, hey, don't compare your dog with somebody else's dog.
Mhm.
Even if they're from the same litter. Do not compare your dog to somebody else's dog. It's the same with kids. You know, you can have the same parents. You know, I got 5 siblings, and we're all different.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We're not at all. None of us is anywhere close to the other one.
Yep.
We're all different.
I think there's a quote that says, like, comparison is like the thief of joy or something like that, because you're always going to see something, this dog's better than my dog, but they can't do
Mhm.
X, Y, and Z that your dog can. Like,
Yeah.
there's some dogs I'll be scrolling, I'll be like, damn, that's a damn good dog.
Let it be motivation.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I got more work to do. Let's go. You know, but those same dogs, like, a lot of people can't have a super high drive dog and then be around kids,
Mhm.
or a dog who's great at bite work but they can't walk on a leash.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, I'd rather have more of an all around dog.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that's actually one thing I ask the people who come to me and choose dogs. I'm like, what is your goal with that dog? What do you have in mind? If you're already like, I don't know, I just want a dog, I'm pretty much already like, I'm probably not going to give you one of my dogs. 'Cause if you don't know what you want, that means you don't even have a plan.
yeah,
So you just have that dog sitting at home, and then it's
he's
going
gonna
to
get destructive.
it's going to be hell.
Yeah,
It's going to be hell. Like any puppy that you get from me, if you don't put any work in, he's not going to make it easy for you. So if you already say I don't know, then I'm probably not going to sell you a dog because I know I'm going to get it back. Because I would take it back. Like I'm more than happy to take it back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you have to have a plan for your dog, and even if it's just I just want it to be a pet dog, then raise it as a pet dog. there are rules, there are obedience, there's this and this and this and this, and you can have an awesome pet dog even if they come from working lines.
Yeah.
Not every working line is going to be a good pet dog, but you can make a working line puppy to live in the house peacefully. It's probably still going to be high energy. It's going to be still have some drive, but you got to. That's another thing you got to learn on how do I channel those drives. When it's time to play, when not. So yeah, make up your mind, people. What you want with your dog. Have a vision. Have a picture of what you want your dog to do.
Yep.
Whatever it is, pet to service dog, protection dog, police dog, whatever it is, and then we can go to the selection of a dog, and you can look for your dog and listen to your breeder when he tells you don't want that dog. Trust him.
Mm-hmm. And then have about an 18-month window of my dog's not going to be what I want them to be until then.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I
Yeah.
mean, it's regardless of what kind of dog you got, 18 to 24 months is that sweet spot where the dog actually starts figuring themselves
Mhm.
out. You have to let the dog mature. You have to build the dog's confidence, and all of those things, like, it just takes time.
Mhm.
Everybody always wants, hey, can you give me some advice for a new puppy? Hey, be patient, let the dog grow up. And that's not what they're wanting to hear.
How many times do we tell our people?
Yeah.
Just take your time, have fun with, enjoy your dog. You know,
Enjoy that puppy phase because
Enjoy
they're
the
not a
dog.
puppy for
No.
very long.
Once they're getting big and strong, you got plenty of time to be frustrated. You got plenty of time to work on the issues you want to fix, but you're not going to fix it when they're little.
Yeah.
You're just going to create. You might fix that one problem, but you're going to create a lot of other problems instead.
Mhm.
And get over it. There are things that are annoying. Deal with them.
Yeah.
Just deal with it. That's what your puppy is. And if you want a puppy that's already 1.5 years old, get yourself a puppy that's 1.5 years old if you don't want to go through that stage. But then you got to work again. You get that dog, work on the relationship. You got another 6 months ahead of you to build that dog
Mhm.
to trust you. But if that dog had a good upbringing, it's possible. We've seen it.
But the thing is, people they want the puppies because they're cheaper. Because if you get a year-old
they
dog,
don't want to
it's
spend no money.
it's a different price than getting a puppy.
Right.
You know.
Yeah,
And
they don't see
especially
if I raised a dog for you. I already bought food for the last
Mhm.
1.5 years. I already took that dog to the vet multiple times. And I had to buy new collars, new leashes. Yeah, they don't
Yeah.
want to spend that money. And the training, the time you put in that dog. When you had it with Oakley,
Yeah.
there were years and years of vet bills, food, like just regular vaccinations, you know.
Yeah.
They cost a lot of money. Blood, sweat, and tears.
Literally.
You know?
Blood, sweat, tears. Yeah.
And people still only want to, they don't want to pay it. It's like,
And it's like, okay, cool. Like, if you don't want, that's fine. But don't expect to have that kind of dog if you don't want to. I mean, and that's not to say that, oh, if you pay a lot of money for a dog, like, you're going to get the perfect dog. I mean, there's a lot of dogs that we've seen overpriced.
Mhm.
There's been dogs that's like, you paid how much for that dog? Like, what the fuck? And a lot of people, and I think that's my issue with the dog world, is a lot of people get taken advantage of because they don't know what they're looking for.
Mhm.
And a lot of people will show something and say that's what it is versus what it really is. Like you said a lot, we're about to get into, raising some protection dogs and selling those as well. And you're like, hey, we're staying away from Schutz and 3 dogs. And I'm like, I agree with you. Like, the highest we would go is probably Schutz and 1. Because at a certain point, those dogs aren't serious. Those dogs will go through the motions. Those dogs will present or display that they would.
Mhm.
But in a real situation, those dogs don't know what to do because they've been pattern trained so much. And a lot of
Pattern
people
training,
sell these dogs and they think, oh, I got a big tough dog. All right, cool. I'm going to throw a sleeve over there and I'm going to stand right here. And the dog is going to be fixated on that
Mhm.
sleeve.
And even if that was a serious dog who could have done great for what we want to do, they're going to have their default now.
Yeah.
Which they will always fall back on. Their default was trained. Or not trained, but
Instilled in them.
it's hard to, or sometimes impossible to get that out
Yeah.
once they reach a certain age. You can work on it, but it's not gonna happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's sad. A lot of people sell those Schutz and 3 dogs as personal protection dogs. And people they're not. There might be a few out there. I'm not saying all of them. There might be a few out there that are serious, and that's why they actually got out of Schutzhund, because a lot of Schutzhund people don't want that
Mhm.
serious dog.
Yep.
She's saying we're crazy.
Oh, she's saying we should wrap it up.
Oh, okay.
It's been a nice little conversation, but let's get to this. It's a little lengthy.
Oh, okay.
So, anywho, this is gonna be something that we're gonna probably do at least. We'll try to get down at least once a week, maybe twice a week. Just talk about dogs. Talk about things that we think you guys would benefit from, and share your experience or our experiences that we've gotten to our dogs to the point that they are. And is there anything you want to leave them with?
No, just post your questions in the comments, and we might be able to talk about that next.
Yep. So, as always, stay tuned, stay safe, stay sharp, and just take care of your dog.
Cheers.